everyone. I know it's been a while. This is my last video. Things have been kind of hectic, but I want to keep doing these. I've been having a good time with them. Today I'm going to talk about some horror graphic novels, particularly movie tie-ins. So let's start with, this is kind of an older, well-known one, but it's still one of the best, is the Army of Darkness graphic novel adaptation. This was done by Dark Horse Entertainment back in the 90s. It's adapted straight from the script by Sam Raimi and Ivan Raimi, and the art is by John Bolton, who is awesome. It's very detailed but stylized. The best thing about this is that it includes a scene in the script that was never shot as part of the film, where Ash fights the possessed witch, where he's being fed grapes, stuff like that. That scene was completely different in the original script, but they couldn't afford to shoot it the way they wanted to, but it's done in here. So it's very important for that reason. So you get to see how that would have been originally, and it is an improvement. It's a shame they didn't have the money to shoot it that way. But this is awesome. This was reprinted just recently. I got a nice hardcover. So definitely pick this up if you don't have it, if you're an Army of Darkness fan or Evil Dead fan. Along those same lines, I don't have the collected graphic novel. I actually have the individual issues. But Dark Horse went back and did an Evil Dead adaptation, with John Bolton again as the artist. And this is awesome. It sticks pretty close to the original film. Makes some interesting changes. There's a little change around the end that kind of makes it jive continuity-wise more with Evil Dead 2, kind of explaining the pseudo-remake thing. Kind of makes them, the first and the second, go together better. So that I highly recommend. That should have just come out in paperback. So you can get that pretty much anywhere. The last Ash title here is the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash graphic novel from Wildstorm. This was based on a scriptment for the unmade film. Yeah, it's kind of poor, to say the least. The first half is really just Jason and Ash, and that's pretty cool. You get to see Ash fighting Jason in the hardware store and stuff like that. That's kind of neat. I really like that. But once Freddy shows up, this turns to shit. There's all this magical hoodoo bullshit, and it's terrible. So read it if you can get a hold of it. Don't buy it unless you're, a completist. Art's okay. Yeah, art's okay, but it's nothing special. So skip that. Let's see. Yeah, this just came out not too long ago. This is Halloween Night Dance from Devil's Due Press. And this is excellent. I highly recommend this. This is written by Stephen Hutchinson, who did the One Good Scare comic for the 25th anniversary convention in Pasadena, and then he did the Autopsis comic that came with the 25th anniversary edition DVD. And this is really his first shot at a longer story. Those are both one-shots. Yeah, if you're a fan of Halloween at all, you should really pick up this particular title. Very adult, very gory, very serious. There's a shocking moment or two in here where I was even taken aback, which doesn't happen very often. Yeah, this is just top quality stuff. If you're a Halloween fan, you owe it to yourself to get this. So, Halloween Night Dance. You can get that on devilsdue.net, or you should be able to order it from any bookstore. Now, they're still making more of these. A couple other miniseries and standalone one-shots, which you can get on devilsdue.net as well at your local comic book store. So definitely check those out. They're pretty awesome. These last two are two Friday the 13th collections. And how well you can see this with the glare. Originally, the New Line characters' rights were owned by a company called Avatar, but they reverted to Wildstorm, which is a DC imprint, which is a good thing because two DC regulars, Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, who are award-winning writers, wrote this first volume, which is one large story miniseries, and it basically plays like a modern sequel would, more in the vein of the Paramount type films than the New Line films, so that's a good thing. Very gory, lots of humor. There's some titties right here, so definitely, particularly if you're disappointed by the remake, this would have served much better. So check this one out. It's a little hard to find. I think it may be out of print, but you should be able to get a used copy online somewhere pretty cheap. So that's the Friday the 13th Volume 1. Volume 2 is a series of one-shots by a number of different artists and writers. The first story in here is really interesting. It's all about Mrs. Voorhees. And it kind of deals with like her home life before Jason was born, and suggesting possibly that she started to go insane long before her son ever died. It's a really interesting story, and it shows some scenes from the first movie that we don't really see with her. She's telling the story to the girl she kills, who she picks up in the Jeep. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but so that's really cool. The two middle stories are kind of boring and throwaway. The last story is really good. It's got some pretty crazy shit in it. I could see a lot of people not liking it, though, because it's kind of... Jason kind of befriends a boy. And for those of you who think that's really pussified and not a Jason Voorhees type of behavior, you'd probably be right. But it's still not a bad story. So I highly recommend Volume 1. Definitely pick up Volume 2 or give it a read if you can find it anywhere, just for that Pamela Voorhees story. And that's really good stuff. So these have just been a few of the movie tie-in horror graphic novels that I have. I have a couple other horror graphic novels that I'll hopefully go through in a future video if anybody's interested. I've also got a lot of single issues of some interesting old tie-ins and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I can get some more up soon, and I'll see you later.